Okay, good morning. Welcome to our first book training of the year. Thank you again to all of our ABC readers for volunteering your time in the classroom this month and for this year as a Project Cornerstone ABC reader. I wanted to highlight a couple of things since this is our first book training. I just want to remind you that this volunteer guide has all of the information in it in terms of what your role looks like or who you are in the classroom. And two of the important things I just wanted to highlight is to just keep in mind that you are a parent, adult volunteering in the classroom. The students, we want them to see you as a caring adult, as a positive person in their life. And so it's very important to work with this program and stick sort of to the script, so to speak, in terms of what the lesson plan includes. What the lesson plan does not include is this. It's not your job to discipline the children in the classroom. We want you to utilize your classroom teacher to help support the student's ability to participate in the lesson. And so we hope that you will be working with your teacher actively as a team. And what that can even look like is just that you always have the right to ask the teacher for help if there are students who are in need of a little extra help to keep them focused on the lesson. And also importantly to know that our role as a reader is that we are, as a volunteer, we're not necessarily expected or bound to some of the things that an employee of the school district is in the form of a teacher. And the main reason we say this at the beginning is these lessons oftentimes will take the students to a place that's a little different perhaps than the places they go when they're learning about math and reading and writing, because we're talking about social emotional learning. We're touching upon feelings and thoughts and experiences that are most likely beyond the classroom and the classroom setting. So it's possible that you may have students who over the course of the year grow to hopefully connect with you or to see you as a positive role model. And what comes with that as well is maybe a comfort level or a vulnerability level where they may share things with you, or they may, even in the course of a classroom discussion, share something. And so we just want to remind everyone that teachers are, this idea of mandated reporters, teachers are mandated reporters. We are not, as parent volunteers, expected when a student says, I feel sad when Uncle so-and-so hits me on a regular basis. As a caring adult, of course, this is something that we would be concerned about. And it's important that that teacher be engaged in that moment as well. Or if something is shared with us on the playground or some other area where you might see your students outside of the classroom, to just know that, again, use your teachers and let them know, oh, a student shared this, I'm concerned about it. And then it's up to the teacher to act upon things that are shared that might, require follow-up. And so what I mean by that, and as it says in here, certainly the YMCA advocates the child abuse prevention policy as advocates for children, and just to know where we fall in that sort of chain of command, if you will, in terms of what our role is. So that's just important, I think, to share. And to also just remember this is a school program, and so therefore we want to support the sort of rules of the school and things. So even if we have a lesson that says, okay, everybody, this is the time where we're all going to scream as loud as we can because the character in the book is screaming, we may want to certainly cater our lesson plan to work within what's expected of classroom behavior, if you will. Does that make sense? So just some things to think about. Obviously, there's a lot more here for you to read. If you have any other questions about what's in the volunteer guide, you can ask any of our liaisons. But I just wanted to highlight that. I also just wanted to highlight so this is what a lesson kind of looks like. So I go into the classroom, I've checked in at the office, as you've already heard, and then this year we have these really cool, you look so official, you're on the team, you're a Project Cornerstone ABC reader. And so at the end of this training today, and there's always going to be fun things to get if you come to the training, but I can't reach you in the computer world. So if you come to the training today, you get to leave here with this wonderful thing, and you get to keep this all year. Wear it proudly, wherever you are on campus. I guess if you're out dancing on a Saturday night, maybe leave this home because that might not be an ABC reader moment. I don't know. But at least when you're on campus, wear your badge. You've checked in the office, you come to school, you've got your badge, you've signed in, and then whatever materials, like we said, that would be in addition to what you receive here, you get. So each month, other than this month, you will have a binder that you may carry with you that has all the lessons planned in it. But for this month, we have just printed a condensed version of the lesson plan for you to take. So if you are the person reading in your classroom for this month, then keep this. It's a gift. You don't have to give this back. This is already going to be in the binder for the next person who uses it maybe in 3 years.
We will send the online document as well, so that they'll have the whole copy.
Right. The other thing is that after this training, there's usually a follow-up email that comes that includes some of the information that we've covered, or to save you the time of going through the Project Cornerstone website. If I highlight a certain document or something, we'll also have that link to that. So we try to make it as easy as possible for you to follow along. So either way, so I've got my lesson plan, whether it's bringing my binder to class, using the classroom binder that's usually blue in the class. Then I come into the class, and here I am, ready to start my first Project Cornerstone lesson. The most important thing is to come into the classroom and to introduce yourselves. And so if you want to follow along with what I'm saying, I'm basically, this page 3 shows this ABC Reader's outline. This is really the best tool for you to use when you're planning your presentation to the classroom. It hits upon a lot of the things, as I've already said, and where or what the rationale is for why we're doing this. So I'm in the classroom. I've gone to the bucket in the classroom that has the book. I've grabbed the Friends to the End book, because this is the book for this month that we're going to be reading. And certainly, since this is the first lesson of the year, it's important, as it is each lesson, to maybe reintroduce yourself. But certainly the first lesson, take a moment to introduce yourself. And Jenny had already said, maybe for this first lesson, when she said all about me bag, it literally can just be like a brown paper bag that you write all about me. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or any version of something. Or perhaps you use the classroom bucket, and you can literally just throw in 1 or 2 things. So, if it were me, I might have a little soccer ball in there because I have volunteered as a soccer coach and I'm passionate about that. And so maybe I might say, hey, is there anyone in the class who likes soccer? Because maybe we have something in common. I like soccer. Raise your hand if anybody else likes soccer. And here's just a small, quick little introduction. They see a way to connect to me in another way in addition to being their reader. It is important, though, that you certainly introduce yourself. This is my name, and if it's you and someone working together, you would say, I and so-and-so are going to be your ABC readers for the year, and I am here today, and I'm here because I care about all the students at Laurel School, and I want to teach you and read to you all that there is in this book for this month. So making it positive, the introduction is a small part of the lesson. So knowing ahead of time from your teacher how much time they're giving you allows you to kind of work within the time. I also really want to say, and this is going out everywhere, so with all due respect to the YMCA Project Cornerstone program, oftentimes the lesson plans are very long. I photocopied this one, for example. It was like maybe 12 pages. Please know that we are not expecting any one of our ABC readers at any time to cover everything on the lesson plan. There is a lot of information, some of it specific to one grade level or another grade level. There's always in the school, there'll be like a classroom activity and then sometimes a school-wide extension, which would be something that's outside of the classroom. There's a significant amount of things that we are not utilizing in our ABC reader time. So keeping it simple, being mindful the time is important. So please don't feel overwhelmed already that, hopefully you won't because I didn't copy the other 10 pages to this lesson plan. But there is a lot of things in the lesson plan and we don't necessarily need to use them all. So when I'm wanting to highlight things, for example, I've introduced myself and as you can see on this lesson plan, you don't even have, it's written for you. If you feel like, you don't want to improvise, you don't need to. You can literally say, Right here, explain your role, and I'm reading, so I'm looking down. I'll be coming to your classroom once a month to read a book with you. We'll have a chance to talk about the book and have a conversation about what it means to you. I want you to look at me as one of the adults that care about you at this school. I'm happy to be here, and I look forward to getting to know you as we read together and do activities this year. So as you can see, it's right here. Also, it'll always encourage that you have children put on name tags. Be mindful that all these things take a lot of time. So certainly most of the classrooms, especially I know the older classrooms, every student has their own desk. They usually have a name tag. So sometimes in some classes it's easy to just, and the teacher has said, just students flip your name tag over so that the reader can see you. So you don't need to take the time to make a name tag. You certainly don't need to provide name tags every month. Sometimes each classroom has their own way of, knowing who the students are. So that's just there as an example of how and where we can apply what's in the lesson plan to our actual lesson. The other thing I just wanted to point out in terms of our first introduction is that in the classroom will also be the book from last year, the Have You Filled a Bucket Today? And because the book for this month in particular is focusing on friendship, I think it's great if you even just bring this out this month as a visual to just even connect with the kids in the class and just say, hi, raise your hand if you remember this book being read last year, or raise your hand if you know what this book is about, however you want to do it. I think it's good even just as a visual for the students this month to say, remember at Laurel, we're all trying to be bucket fillers. What is a bucket filler? The introduction to the book for this month, since it's your first time in the classroom, and remember that this is a whole new classroom in terms of the kids are not the exact same kids that were in the class last year, or the combination is usually different. So we may have that bucket right near us too to say, what does a bucket filler look like? Or what does a bucket dipper look like? It's kind of a great, very short introduction. Should not take more than a minute of your time in the classroom to at least just highlight, because for a lot of kids, they'll make a connection to this or this, and automatically they now have a connection to you as a reader because they had this connection to these things and their reader from last year, and so you were just another caring adult. For some students, you might be the same caring adult. Certainly if you're reading, following along with your own child. So it is important to just highlight these things in a simplified way. And then the other thing I just wanted to point out is that there is a lot of questions after the book. When we get to that, it's the same thing. Just cater it to what you can do with the time you have. So Friends to the End is the book for the first month, and really what we are looking at is just this idea of what is a friend? What does a friend look like? That is the sort of the overarching theme, and you'll see that on your lesson plan on the first page. Now we're flipping around here. But I want to just highlight in this box here for your lesson plan and for each month, that's going to show you what the goal of the lesson is. So for this month, it's saying our goals for this book reading is we want our students to learn how to respect each other and develop interpersonal skills for getting along with each other. We want students to explore how to be kind to each other, how to make and keep friends, and how to be upstanders, which might be a new word for a lot of the kids in your class. Certainly for our kindergartners, that's a new word. Okay.
The pledge.
Yes. So I've introduced myself, I've introduced this and that, and then I'm going to say, before we start this lesson, I want to just make sure that remembering to acknowledge to our students that Project Cornerstone time is a special time. It's different than any other time in your classroom during the month, in that we're going to read books and talk about things that have oftentimes a lot of connections for you in and out of the classroom. So we want to make sure we have some special rules, and some of these might be the same rules that the classroom already has, but we always want to highlight what the rules are before we start the lesson. So these are the ABC class rules in your classroom binder that is blue. This will always be in there, and it's laminated. So when you go into your classroom, I forgot to mention, when you get your book, you're going to want to get your rules And that sticker sheet, other than this month, will be right there with these rules. So I'm going to go over what the rules are. And the way I made it fun for students last year, because you're probably already tired of listening to me talk now. And here I am, asking us to have students listen to you for 30 minutes. So this can be a great kind of fun thing with the kids, especially when it's month after month. You can say, okay, let's just review what the rules are. So repeat after me. During Project Cornerstone time, I will be respectful. And then they would say, I will be respectful. So, I do it that way, sort of like a repeat after me. Each of these rules, listen to others, take turns. And it's just a way to get them engaged right from the start. If we get them speaking, or even just as concept, like we're going to speak out loud as a class at the same time, might be very different than what they normally do in class anyway. So it kind of sets the stage that this is special time. So either way, we go through all these rules. And as you can see, in the interest of time, I'm not going to elaborate on too many of these. Hopefully you know what these mean. Be responsible, be kind and helpful, be safe, and always try to do your best. The one rule that I do want to highlight is number 4, where it says no names. And what that means is we want to give our students the opportunity again to know that this is special time in the classroom. So what we mean by no names is I look forward to hearing what you have to say about the book, or I look forward to hearing if there's something you want to share about a connection you have to the book. And just to be respectful of all of our friends in the classroom, we want you to remember to keep your personal stories or examples just that, personal. So if you're going to share a story about something that happened to you, even in this classroom or at this school, just choose to use a different name. So I don't want to hear that Jenny said something to me on the playground. I want to hear you use another name, or you can even just say, another student said this to me on the playground. Because we want the experience for everyone in the class to be the same experience in terms of everyone able to engage in the lesson. And if I start out, hey, has anyone ever had a problem with a friend? Does anyone like to share an example? And someone says, well, Jenny did this, and Jenny's sitting right there. Is Jenny gonna feel as engaged or connected? No, now we've actually just created an environment that doesn't feel respectful and doesn't feel, comfortable to all students. Does that make sense? So that's what that is. You can have fun with that. I've said, I think it's even on the training from last year, sometimes no names. I might say, hey, here's an opportunity for you to, be creative. So I might say, when I was on the playground, Wonder Woman did this. And then the kids are, Wonder Woman? Oh, now they're even more interested in my story, when it really was just about Jenny and I, what we were doing at the ball cart or something. So, so that's just important. We cover the rules. And then now we go into the book in terms of, like I said, the introduction. So I'm sorry, I'm even out of order in my training. So the rules, then I might do this, and now here I am at the book. And so I'm going to read this book, right? Am I going to read this book? Yeah, okay, because then you'll know what it is. So this is Friends to the End for Kids. I also want to highlight for all of you, every classroom has a smart board in their classroom. I highly recommend, especially for the students to get to see all the pages of these wonderfully illustrated books. This is a way to engage your teacher as well. If you're a team of readers and there's 2 of you, then maybe the other person who's not doing the lesson might be the one sitting at the desk under the projector. So ideally in your classroom, you can put this book under the projector, and then it projects onto the smartboard or onto the front of the classroom. And it really, I think, brings all the students closer to the book. Somebody's opportunity, oh, can we turn down the lights? Who wasn't excited to turn the lights down in class? Again, we're creating the stage of this being special. So I really encourage you to use that projector. And again, you don't need to know how to use a projector. You just need to ask the teacher, can you do this? Plus, it kind of gets the teacher involved in your lesson. So if the teacher can be under the projector reading the story, it's better, because as you can see, maybe even for some of you right now, it's hard to hear or see the pictures. So here we go. Friends to the End. Trying to talk about our friendship is like chewing 10 pieces of bubble gum at the same time. It ties up my tongue in knots. Can everyone see? It's really hard to get out all the words to explain how good it feels to be your friend. Which is pretty weird, because talking is one of the things we do best. But lately, I've been thinking a lot about friendship. And about what it makes it so great to have good friends. For one thing, friends truly care about each other. You can trust them with your most secret secrets. and you can count on them to watch your back and never forget about you or leave you behind. It's kind of spooky, but friends just seem to know what you need without even saying a word. Whether it's a big hug, an emergency back scratch, or just a little peace and quiet to get your thoughts together. Of course, it's also good to have some time alone with your favorite toys. Or a pig out snack attack. But when a friend calls, you slam on the brakes, turn around, and then come running as fast as you can. Because with friends, and this is the best thing about friendship, spending time with each other means fun, loads of fun. It might mean putting on a hilarious musical production in fancy costumes. Or splashing around in the pool or at the beach on a hot day. Friends have fun going on crazy adventures, catching the first summer raindrops or winter snowflakes on the tips of their tongues, and singing or screaming at the top of their lungs all the words to their favorite songs. One day you might start out inventing strange, delicious cookies in the kitchen and end up doing wild and crazy dances till you are absolutely wiped out. Of course, every friendship has rough spots too. There will be times when we don't see eye to eye. Big arguments can start over silly things. We might even make the mistake of letting others come between us, and that would make me sad. The truth is that even the best friends can drive each other crazy from time to time. Or do things that are way too gross to believe. But eventually we have to shrug our shoulder, forgive each other, and move on. Because that's what real friends do. Without friends, life would be awfully lonely, perhaps a little bit scary, and certainly a lot more boring. After all, you can't do high fives with yourself without looking like an idiot. Sometimes even really fun things don't seem worth doing without someone to share them with. And what's more, with friends we can do so many things that we just can't do by ourselves. In fact, with their help, even the utterly impossible seems deliciously doable. True friends make us smile as soon as we see them. They brighten up our day without even trying. It just feels good to have them around. I know how lucky I am to have found a friend like you. And I just want to say thank you, or to say that no matter what happens, you will never be alone. Because I will always be your friend. Always. And so this is the book. Most of the books run about the same amount of time. This one doesn't have a lot of words. The pictures are great, which is why we want the kids to see the pictures. So putting it under the projector is great. So as you can see, this book talks a lot about friendship. So the next part that I might do in the classroom, all the teachers also have a laptop computer in their classroom. So if you can utilize like some other forms of sort of technology to connect with your students, it's great. I don't have a projector with me today, but I do want to highlight to you, if you go to the handout that Jenny gave you that shows how to navigate the Project Cornerstone website, and you turn to the back page where it shows Friends to the End, oftentimes our email link as a follow-up to this training might include these links as well, but there's always a link to YouTube videos section, and I think our students really enjoy those visual connections as well. And so for this month, there's 2 different YouTube videos, and they're listed there. Friends to the End, there'll be a video of the reading of the book, someone else reading the book. But more importantly, if you can, I think it's great to share with them the second link, which is an Android commercial. You may have seen it on TV already. certain companies oftentimes have really fun commercials and things that we tie into our lessons. Last year there was a rock, paper, scissors video that was great for one of our books, and this one is great too. So it says Android commercial. It's a little thing about animals, and it is the cutest little video. And if we have time when we're offline from this training, and you want to come and check it out, I do think I do have here on my iPad to show you just a little snippet. There's also a second video that is kind of when you're in YouTube and that friends to the end, then you kind of scroll down the right side, there's always like a lot of other videos. Sadly, there might be another YouTube video of me doing one of these trainings before. You can skip that, obviously, for your students. But if you go down, there is another one that says something like friends to the end, and it has a picture of Disney character like Baloo the bear or something. And I clicked on that last night as well, and I have that here too. And you know, it's really cute too, and it's just about friendship. So since the theme of this book is friendship, and it's the first lesson, we want you to keep it simple as readers too. So I really encourage you, read the book, share maybe one or two of these videos. We're just presenting the idea to kids in this classroom again. Like, what is a friend? What does a friend look like? Because that was the nature of the book. So when we're moving to the activities section, and maybe can we wait for questions till then? Sure. The lesson, if you will, or the activity can be something as simple as just reminding the kids, what does a friend look like? So we may, with the older students, open up for, in terms of our discussion questions. If you now go to your outline, you'll see here that it says, talk about having classmates, friends, and upstanders at your school. We can go back even to the book, you know. Can anybody share anything in the book that showed an example of friendship? Really, the idea is friendship, and just focusing on what does a friend look like? What's a good friend? If we don't want to take the time, or maybe the laptop's not working for friends and these videos, then I might just put up some of these other things under the projector after I've engaged the kids in what does a friend look like? We're just trying to build friendships in the classroom, and so maybe I'd highlight some of these things. This is something that most of the students would have seen last year, and it's on our Project Cornerstone website, and we'll put a copy of this on the bookcase. 10 ways to build relationships. So maybe I might just highlight this, or have the students help me, if they're in table groups or something, if they're older, hey, would anybody like to read number 1? And if it's up on the screen, then they can read it. The other thing is, maybe I'll take this sheet that says thinking about being a friend and classmates, and maybe this is utilized as the follow-up discussion questions. You have these on the outline, but really, this is where you might, as the reader, just choose one or two things that you think highlight what a friend looks like most. So some of the questions here are, do you finish what you start out to do? What is a real apology? Or do you expect what your friends have to say? Maybe I might want to even just do this as an activity. This is friendship, classmates, and upstander behaviors. Maybe I have everybody, and we just do it like a show of hands or something, instead of giving everyone a piece of paper. This is up on the screen. And what are these things? Tell me here in this, raise your hand, and tell me, is this something that a friend does, a classmate does, or an upstander? Now here we go right from the start. Some students might not even know what an upstander is. So I might need to take a minute and explain what an upstander is, which is really just standing up for someone. And being a good friend sometimes is just standing up for someone and saying, hey, let's include this person in the game, for example. So any of these things would be able to be utilized. Maybe before I do this activity with I'm thinking more of some of the older classrooms, like second, third, and up. Maybe before I do an activity where we're going to raise our hand to pick which one of these is a friend, classmate, I'm going to use that projector to actually put this up to show them before we even do the question answer of, just going over, okay, what does a friend look like? So this will be up on the projector. Friends are people that they like you and you like them. And you don't have to always look exactly the same as we saw in the book, right? They hang out together, they help each other, they stick up for each other, they trust each other. Classmates are people where we treat each other with respect even though we're not friends. And certainly for all of you, maybe you've just met some new classmates and you're still getting to know each other and becoming friends. And so what does that mean just to be a classmate and to be part of a class? Is to be polite to each other. We're not mean to each other. We help each other. We may stay away from each other if we need to, that's fine. We may choose not to play with each other, but we don't stop the other person from having friends or from playing something. We do not try to hurt the other person. And then the third is enemies, so just, kind of explain what is an enemy? And this is where we might even say, as a reader last year, raise your hand if you remember the book Enemy Pie, because that's a book we read last year, and some of you may remember that book. An enemy is someone who we don't allow people at our school to ever behave as enemies, and there are consequences for these behaviors. So enemies try to hurt other people's feelings. Enemies make fun of other people. Enemies stop people from having friends. Enemies start rumors. Enemies lie to other people. And so this is where we can come back to our bucket and say, anyone who's choosing to be an enemy or do those behaviors is dipping someone's bucket. And part of being what we want to be reminding students is how to be a friend. A lot of things we're doing as a good friend fills someone's bucket. So the most other simple activity, I think, for this lesson, if you don't want to utilize a projector or you have younger students and this is just way too much reading and paper or teacher to student and you just want to be interactive, is playing a very simple game with the students in the class. We're going to play the stand-up game because our goal is to teach everyone to be upstanders. And so what you can do as a reader, and you can come up with these ahead of time, maybe like 5 or 6 questions, and you're going to say, this is a getting to know your classmates game, and we're going to play the stand-up game. So when I say something, if it applies to you, stand up. And so maybe the question is like, I like ice cream. If you like ice cream, stand up. Okay, everyone sit down. I have a brother or a sister at home, and then everyone stand up. So you pick some very simple, easy questions that don't require our students to make themselves too vulnerable, but do provide a great opportunity for kids to connect with each other. I like this particular book or this TV show or whatever it is that might apply to everyone. And it can be even just so, I like the color purple. And then stand up if you like the color purple. And so what we're giving the kids a chance is now they can see, oh, someone over there likes purple too. Maybe now when they leave our lesson time, they have another way to connect. So if you would like, we can include some sample questions as for this stand-up game, or you can make it work for you in your classroom. So since it's the first lesson, something like that where it's a get to know you opportunity with the kids can be the spirit of the lesson. So we've done the rules, we've read the book, we've maybe showed a video or two that's gonna highlight sort of friendship idea, and then we played this game stand up, or if we still have time and we want to, we can highlight any one of these that I've shown. And then at the end of the book, we always, at the end of the lesson, we always take a few minutes, and as you can see, did I cover all this stuff in the outline? No, it's way too much, especially for the first month of our year together, because we're already introducing ourselves and maybe the program again, reminding them what a bucket filler is. Just so you know, there's also in your lesson plan this skills needed to make friends. Maybe I just highlight 1 or 2 of these without reading them, but maybe I just, say to the class, part of being a good friend might look like this. So then I get to the end here and you see at the lesson plan it'll show the last part will say like a 3-minute huddle, and I may not have even included that on your lesson plan here. Did I? Page 3, it's usually page 3. Oh, right here, sorry, I was flipping around to the wrong side. So what I'm saying is we're not asking you to do duct tape bracelets, we're not asking you to role play, we're not asking you to do all these elaborate things in the time we have. So please don't feel, oh, I need to go out and buy duct tape and all these things. This is where I'm saying these trainings, whether you're in the room with us or you're through your computer, just know that there is a much more here than we want you to utilize in your lesson. So the 3-minute huddle might just be something as simple as just saying, okay, let's bring it back together. We finished the stand-up game, and maybe it might just be, just really quick, can everybody turn to your neighbor and say hi and tell them your name? And that's a way to kind of bring it together, because you know what? Part of being a friend sometimes is just saying hello and smiling at someone, and now you've all done that, so you already are on your road to friendship here in our classroom. Okay, and then the very last thing we do with the students every month is then we say, the way we're going to end our lesson each month is we're going to do the upstander pledge, because at Laurel School we're trying to learn how to all be upstanders, and so this is really important. It can be that same format as with the rules, where I say something and the class repeats back, make it fun, make it engaging. We want the students to participate even when they don't want to. You know, I'm not going to say this, but you're an upstander. So I would say, okay, repeat after me. I am an upstander. And then they say, I am an upstander. And if they're like, I'm an upstander. Oh, what's that? I can't hear you. I am an upstander. Like, get them engaged to at least say these things. Because the theory and the hope and the goal is that even if all the students get each month from us is saying these rules out loud, which reinforce important social, emotional components to being a person in this community that we want everyone to be, and then hearing the story that you've read, and then doing the upstander pledge, which are all these things. I have the power to influence my peers. Just repetition alone, rules, story, upstander pledge, that alone we think is building and nurturing them in a way to grow socially and emotionally. So that would be how we want you to end your lesson every time. So just do these. And I guarantee by the 6th or 7th month of doing this, oh, here we go again. But you just keep it fun. You make it fun. Because then the kids kind of get excited. Oh, I remember that from last time. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it louder than that time. Or, you know, however you want to do that, make these parts fun. Because the rules aren't usually very fun in life. And this, what, I have to do a pledge? That sounds official. No, we just want to make it fun so that the kids can connect and engage with not only the lesson and the time we have, but also us as readers. So then we say thank you, and we say, and now that you have finished your first Project Cornerstone lesson, and I, as your reader, are now a friend to you, and you are all my new friends, I want you to, I'm going to give everyone a sticker for being good listeners today, because that you followed the rules. And even if half the class wasn't good at listening, and you don't feel they followed the rules, we're going to model the importance of listening by saying, thank you for listening, and everybody gets a sticker. And then that's kind of the end of the lesson. So I know we're going on, and you're probably really tired of listening to me. But thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next month online in the computer world. And now we're done.